So let's get into the game settings. There's quite a bit to the game settings, so we'll do just one video on the settings, and then the next video we will run through a simulated game and show you all the other features as if we were running around in a venue. So to get to game settings, obviously just click game settings. Now a lot of these settings only have to be set once. Okay, that's why they're shoved away in their own little in their own little section. So first we have display options. So we can click whether we want the game name or the playlist name displayed. And then if we've got that clicked, where do we want it displayed? Do we want it displayed at the top of the screen or at the bottom of the screen? Okay. Same with artist title. Do we want the artist title to be displayed? And if this is ticked yes, then where do we want that? Do we want that at the top or the bottom? Now, these cannot be the same. You can't have game name and artist title both set to bottom or both set to top. The system doesn't detect that, and it will just stick one over top of the other. So if you've got them both on, one has to be at the top, one has to be at the bottom. When it comes to this option here, then you can choose, do you want to display only the song title, only the artist, or the artist and the title? And then if you are displaying the artist title, do you want to set a delay before it's displayed so it just doesn't pop up straight away? If you say yes, set a delay, then you can set the delay in seconds before the artist title pops up on the screen. You can opt to display the winning pattern, the game pattern, and if that's set on, where do you want the game pattern displayed on the screen? So it can be top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. You can change it around. So these are the main ones that would only change from venue to venue, changing the location of the game name and the artist title between top and bottom, depending on where the screens and how the screens are situated. Sometimes it's easy for people to see it's at the top of the screen. Sometimes it's easier for people to see it at the bottom. So you would change that on a per venue basis, and also the location of the winning pattern. You may want it down the bottom. You may want it up the top. It all depends on the screen once again. The song review. So this again, that goes back to our display settings when I was talking about how it will scroll up a list of played songs. You want that to scroll from the bottom of the screen to the top, or the top of the screen to the bottom. And then the fade in, fade out is the number of seconds. Now this is basically only a fade in, because if you are manually moving from one song to the next, there's another way for it to fade out, and I'll show you that when we're in the gameplay. So that is more a fade in effect. Okay. Your sound options, whether we want to play a sound effect between songs and which sound effect. And you see these are the sound effects that we created in the sound effects option in the settings area. Okay. And then we also have sound effect volumes. So we can set the volume for the sound effects. Here we've got it set to 50%, because some sound effects, they're quite loud and we don't want to be blowing speakers or eardrums, so you can set that. The next is digital game. So if you are using the digital cards, you've got some options here. So the first option is to enable auto marking. So what this will do is, if it's set to yes, after a set number of seconds after the song starts to play, the song will auto mark on the player's device. Now here I've got it set to 10 seconds. This is my development test machine. In our live venues, we have this set to 20 seconds. So basically 20 seconds after the song starts to play, it will auto mark on the player's device. And this is useful if, say, the player has to go to the restroom or go to the bar, has to take a call, has to check messages, that sort of stuff, is otherwise their focus is somewhere else. the system will keep their cards up to date. The reason why we put a delay in there is we still want people who are actively playing and engaged to have the opportunity to call bingo and not just have somebody have their cards auto marked. But it's a very nice feature, and our players come back with some very good feedback on that. The max cards per player, you can set this to whatever you like. We generally have it set to 2. We think 2 cards are enough, but you could have it 3, 4, 5, whatever. So that's the maximum number of cards a player can request. And then the default cards per player is when the join screen pops up on the player's device, it will automatically request 2 unless they change the number. Show bingo alert will, when that's set, it will show a bingo alert on the extended screen saying bingo has been called. So it just puts it out there that people know that it's been called. You can have that turned on or off. Review link. This link here goes to a Google review page, and what happens there is that once the game is finished and you hit stop game, a message gets sent to the mobile devices going game over, and if there is something in this review link, it will then say, we hope you enjoyed the game. Please click the button to leave a review, and then there's a button they can press that will take them straight to the review link. So that's the way that we can get reviews through the mobile app. Now, that review link could, once again, go to Google or go to Facebook or whatever review system you want to build reviews on. The digital game join screen, we found that, like, initially we had this set up that it was on a light grey background with black text and that sort of stuff. But what we found is on the really, really big screens in some venues, it went on like this big fluoro light. It just really lit up, and it was quite blinding for some people. So now we've put the option in where you can set up the color scheme for the join screen. So what happens, and I'll demonstrate this once we get into the gameplay simulation, but when you click start digital game, the system will automatically create a screen with your logo, the playlist name, and a QR code that the player can scan to take them to the join screen on their mobile device. So now you can set the background color, the playlist color, and the text color. Right. So once again, you just click on the on the color, select the color there, and then the logo image. Because in the card configuration settings, we used a darker logo because the logo is meant to go onto a light background like paper. But if we're setting a dark background, then we need a lighter image. So here you can optionally set it to a lighter logo. And then the last one is general and saying, like, so when you load the playlist, it will auto shuffle. So that's the game settings. And as I said, the only ones that you really will be coming in and changing regularly will be the location of the game name, the artist title, and the winning pattern. Okay, so once you've got all that set, click Save.